During the next presentation, may I request your absolute silence.
Well, I thought my razor was dull until I heard his speech. And that reminds me of a story that's so dirty I'm ashamed to think of it myself.
For I have a message of great importance for everyone in the audience.
I implore you, send him back to his father and brothers, who are waiting for him with open arms in the penitentiary. I suggest that we give him 10 years in Leavenworth or 11 years in 12-worth.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take 5 and 10 in Woolworth.
Now remember, please, absolute quiet.
Cut the cards.
Absolute quiet.
Los hermanos Marx, Groucho, Chico y Harpo fueron las principales estrellas cómicas de su tiempo. Irreverentes, impredecibles y contracorriente, llenaron los Estados Unidos de risas en la época de la Depresión. Pero en 1941 los hermanos entraron en un estado de semirretiro. Continuaron trabajando esporádicamente, pero la verdad es que ya no eran mucho más que leyendas de otro tiempo. Eran historia. Los irreverentes hermanos Marx. Con el final de la Segunda Guerra Mundial llegó una nueva explosión de energía y optimismo. Los Estados Unidos volvían al trabajo y, sorprendentemente, también los hermanos Marx. La mayoría de la gente recuerda a los Marx por sus películas. Lo que pocos saben es que realizaron un trabajo más que sustancial en la televisión.
You know Allegro Pizzicato? No, I don't. You know Jimmy Pizzicato? Maybe you know Itsy Bitsy Pizzicato. None of the Pizzicatos.
Chico fue el primero en explorar este territorio virgen, pero fue Groucho quien encontró el éxito duradero en este joven medio.
We sat in the audience, and Bob Hope was reading a script, and he was reading it with Groucho. I'd never seen Groucho before in person. And Bob dropped his script accidentally. So Groucho dropped his on purpose. And they talked for maybe 12 minutes or so, and very funny and not dirty.
Groucho, what are you doing out here in the desert?
Desert, I've been sitting in the dressing room for 40 minutes.
Groucho, excuse me a minute. I have to make an announcement on the air. Step into the studio with me, will you?
You notice everybody in radio wears wooden shoes?
So after the show, I went up on the stage, and I introduced myself to Groucho and said, how would you like to go do a quiz show? And he said, well, I've flopped 3 times on the radio so far, and he had in variety shows. And I'll compete with refrigerators. I'll do anything you want.
He said, I would like to do a radio show, but I'll be damned if I do a quiz show. That's for idiots.
Thank you, thank you. This is Groucho Marx. Well, here I am, stepping in over my head again. Folks, this is just as new to me as it is to you. I've never done one of these shows before, but we've got several couples up here on the stage, a lot of people in the seats out front, and the doors are locked, so I've got to go through with it. Besides, somebody might win $1,000 cash at any moment. All I know is it can't be me.
Apueste usted su vida comenzó en la radio en octubre de 1947, con un formato reminiscencia de otros muchos programas concurso. Pero en su segunda temporada se convirtió en el éxito inesperado del año y conseguiría para Groucho el más alto honor de la radio, el premio Peabody al mejor animador.
He saw all his friends succeeding, Jack Benny and this and that, and he couldn't, and it really upset him. So when he finally did it himself, it made him extremely happy. This I know.
El programa pasó de la ABC a la CBS cuando apareció la televisión. Pero ¿podría Groucho hacer la transición a la televisión?
All right.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the secret word tonight is name. N-A-M-E.
Really?
You bet your life. And here's that sterling Elgin American, the one, the only...
What a ridiculous name.
Oh, that's me, Groucho Marx.
Están viendo las primerísimas grabaciones televisivas de Groucho Marx. Esta prueba fue filmada en diciembre de 1949 y no se emitió nunca.
We knew we had to be on television eventually, and we wondered how we were going to do that. Would we just televise a radio show? So they decided they'd bring a camera in and on CBS, and we did the show, and during the show, these guys took some pictures of us on kinescope so we could look at it.
Suppose I kiss her and you didn't know anything about it.
Well, I'd know about it.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to trap you. Howard, I'll bet you $1. I bet you $1 I can kiss your wife and you won't know a thing about it. Bet?
Okay, it's a bet.
Okay. Would you mind moving aside there? Just a moment. Well, you saw me kiss her, didn't you?
That's right.
I lose. Here's your $1, huh?
Oh, that isn't my wife.
Well, don't come and running to me with your troubles. Are you married?
Yes, I am.
You have any kids?
3 and I think 4 pretty soon.
When were you home last? Huh? How'd you lose your job?
Well, I was teaching someone how to drive and I got a ticket for giving the wrong signal.
We had quite a talk when we went on television as to whether he should have the little black mustache and the whole thing, you know, like in the movies. And Weezy says, no, you're a different man now. You are not the continuation of that fella.
The geniuses at the networks wanted him to do the show with that mustache painted on him and the eyebrows, and he refused.
Groucho Marx. In You Bet Your Life.
And now, here he is, the one, the only...
Is that boar still hanging around? Oh, that's me. If any of them say the secret word, the duck will come down and pay him $100. The word tonight is pépin. That's the way you pronounce it in French.
Oh.
Pépin.
Bob Dwan, who later became the director of the Groucho show and had been my boss in San Francisco, said, I didn't know you were in town, George. I'm doing an audition, and I'd like you to come down. This show may never make it. It's with Groucho.
We didn't know there was going to be any great chemistry. I mean, we didn't be able to think, oh, boy, there's a guy that's going to have the chemistry with Groucho.
You may fire and run.
You have to ask me.
Okay, what do you want me to say? Go ahead. Go ahead, George. That's some ad-lib, eh?
But you see, he's so dignified and straight. It's just right for Groucho. And he went to college, and Groucho didn't, and it was a great luck. That's what it was.
All right, you ready?
We did a routine, and I didn't realize I was doing. I was ad-libbing, but in terror.
I've been getting a lot of mail recently from people saying that I don't like you and that I ride you on the show and everything. And you know that isn't true, George. You know I love you.
I didn't know that much, huh?
No. If you were a woman, I'd have snapped you up long ago. I just want you to know that, George.
Well, I knew that. Yes.
You did know it, huh?
Yes. I knew you liked me in your own way. Oh, how that man could embarrass me.
And it wasn't that he was really mean, but he could see the dark side of everything, you know. And he would get a lot of fun out of insults.
He said to me more than once, Bob, I have nothing but confidence in you, and very little of that.
I think one of the reasons he was kind of mean is that he had tight shoes. And he had insomnia. And he had stomach problems all the time. He couldn't sleep at night, you know. He had a heck of a time. And it made him just kind of ornery.
His friend Goodman Ace had, I think, the best retort. He said there was a lot of action in the show, he said. Groucho opened his mouth and literate, witty words came out.
Who was the barbarian conqueror known as the Scourge of God? Scourge of God. S-C-O-U-R-G-E. Scourge. Scourge. Scourge.
Scrooge of God. What's the difference? They don't know it anyhow. They don't know it, and I can't pronounce it. It's a real classy quiz show we have.
We did extensive searching for contestants. We found them through newspaper stories, through letters that were written to us. It was a very popular show, and people wanted to be on it.
No, I don't think that people were intimidated by Groucho. They were proud to be on. The ones I felt sorry for were the contestants who thought they were funnier than Groucho, who wanted to do jokes with Groucho. And you could see it happening, you know. It just, he'd let them go, and then, well,
There was actually a little sprinkling of rudeness to what he said, but he was the silly man saying it.
What makes you think just because a man is 5 inches taller than 6 feet that this makes him a man?
Well,
you know, it doesn't go by size. A man's size has nothing to do with his ability in any way. I'm trying to keep this on a euphemistic plane. Well, name one specifically.
Well, automobiles couldn't run without felt. Aeroplanes couldn't run. The girls in California have that new look by this...
You mean the girls couldn't run without felt? Well, a lot of them have felt and then run, huh?
The question is, did Groucho have a script or did he ad-lib? And the answer is yes.
I don't know why, but people try to prove that our show was scripted. Well, if you ever worked with amateurs, you know that you don't give them a script the night of the show, and they're going to remember. What you want them to remember is when he asks you how you met your husband, tell him that story that you told me. Well, then, naturally, Groucho will know what that story is going to be, and he's got some ideas of what he's going to say, but it's not a script.
Los críticos estaban entusiasmados. El Radio TV Daily dijo, no hay ningún cómico en la profesión que le llegue a la suela del zapato a la agilidad verbal del hermano Groucho. Y ahí está el sabor de este nuevo plato visual. Solo ahora se sabe, después de ver estas recién descubiertas fotografías de escenas entre bastidores, que Groucho tenía una pequeña ayuda.
We're on film, and sometimes Groucho would get off on a tangent that we knew we would ever use on the show. And we're eating up this film, this 35mm film. So they figured they had to have some way to get a message to him out on the stage.
And so what we got, I remembered, was I'd seen him in bowling alleys, you know, that, and which is essentially an overhead projector, which you find in every classroom nowadays. So there was nothing very mysterious about it.
It had this white glass with a light behind it, so you could see, and the silhouette, you'd see the words, and he could write backwards, and it says, jump to page 7, or
ask her where she met her husband, you know, and he would write down this. And Groucho, if he looked, he would see, and then he'd ask where she met her husband. And that moved the show along.
Well, in what way is your husband romantic, assuming that he is? Which I question.
Oh, man, have you ever been made love to by a Frenchman?
Not that I can recall. Oh, take him out and pass him around. You went to college for that, huh? Let's keep it this way now, nice and quiet and subdued, huh? All right. UCLA, 53.
Llevaba 45 minutos rodar cada episodio de Apueste usted su vida, después de lo cual escogían los mejores 24 minutos para ser emitidos. La mayor parte del material se quedaba en la sala de montaje, pero con bastante frecuencia se salvaba algún momento muy especial de las tomas falsas del editor.
You're 30 years old, John?
I'm 50.
You're what? You're what?
I'm 50.
You're thirsty? Well, I...
Thank you very much. Would you like this?
We gave him a lot of help. We We knew a lot about the contestants when they came up there, and we prepared a lot of material for him, but he was totally free to use that in any way he wanted, and so he could take chances.
What have you learned after being 25 years in politics?
Well, the old-fashioned way is still the best.
I must have some reputation, you know. There isn't anything anybody can say to me anymore that doesn't evoke some kind of a dirty laugh from the audience. What do you mean by the old-fashioned way?
Well, just... And if they didn't work, he knew they would be cut out. He'd turn around to me and say,
Clip, here we go again.
and it was gone.
Well, now, suppose you became a famous actress and then you met somebody you liked and got married. Would you be willing to quit acting and be a housewife and a mother?
Well, I think if you keep your feet on the ground, you can combine both. That's what I would like to do.
Well, if you keep your feet on the ground, you'll never be a mother. That's what they call a waste of film.
Primarily, the big objective, Groucho, will be to migrate the people by space vehicle to other planets that have more desirable temperature.
You're going to have to put your shoes on again, you know.
It is getting deep, ain't it?
Yeah.
Pardon me just a minute. I hate to interrupt this, but have you read this book?
No, sir.
Well, hold it. I'll be right back. Now that we've all seen action, let's have a little action on the show.
Before we go on, may I make an announcement here?
Well, you may. I don't approve of it. You can go ahead and make
Well,
it.
this is a serious announcement for a doctor in our audience. There's nothing wrong with anybody here at the show.
Hell there isn't, huh?
Dr. Hoyt, one of the
Dr.
patrons...
Hoyt, that's a fine name for a doctor, Dr. Hoyt.
Has a call for you, sir.
Doctor, why don't you pay your bills and they won't be badgering you in the middle of a performance?
Oh, you're terrible.
Yes, that's true. I'm not only terrible, but revolting.
Welcome, welcome for the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. Say, your face looks familiar. Haven't we met before?
I don't think so, Groucho.
And what is your name, miss?
No, this is the lady.
Oh, I see. Either I'll have to get my glasses fixed or you'll have to do your hair differently. What is your name, sir?
Forsythe. Ronald Forsythe.
Ronald, huh? It was Rodney during rehearsal. Well, okay, now I think we better get started and play You Bet Your Life.
Where's the duck?
The duck? Well, where would you find it?
Groucho, en palabras de Rufus Firefly, no era un bomboncito sentimental. Este cinescopio de su aparición en el programa de Jack Benny estaba entre sus más preciadas posesiones. No se volvió a ver desde su emisión original en 1955.
Say the secret word, which is something found around the house. The duck will come down and pay you $100.
Something around the house?
Yes. Now, where do you live, Rod?
Well, right now, I'm living in Glendale.
Glendale, huh?
Yes, I have a little home there with 6 rooms and windows and window shades and Venetian blinds and tables and chairs and spoons and saucers and dishes and rugs and knives and forks.
Hold it. Why are you telling me all this?
Well, you said that the secret word is something around the house.
I can't get over how familiar you look. Is the violin you play a Stradivarius?
Oh, no. You see, you have to be rich to be able to have a Stradivarius. See, I'm poor. All I have around my house are towels and rugs and ashtrays.
look, enough of that already. Now, Rodney, you say you don't have a Stradivarius?
No, sir.
You know, I heard that a lot of imitation Strads have been made and sold.
I know, but they could never fool me because, you see, I could tell a phony.
I guessed it! I guessed it! I guessed the word! I guessed the word! I got it! I guessed the word! I guessed it! I guessed it! I guessed the word!
Hold it. There's been a mistake. The duck thought you said the secret word, but you didn't.
What?
Secret word is telephone, and you said telephony.
But I got an impediment in my speech. I always say that. I say telephony. I say yes, phony. When I shave, I use cologne. I say it all the time.
You use cologne when you shave?
Yeah.
Well, in the sentence you used, you said you wouldn't be fooled because you could tell a phony.
Well, you didn't let me finish the sentence. I said I was going to tell a phony, a friend of mine who's a violin expert. That's what I was going to say. Honest.
What's his name, this friend? You've got a friend. Well, okay, they say the customer's all right, but I don't know how that applies to you. You sound like the type who's never been a customer.
I don't care. Just let me at this duck. There must be more where that came from.
Well, there was, but he just flew in from Las Vegas.
Benny is not, although he's a funny ad-libber, he does it with attitude. I mean, he does it with a facial expression and gets, you know, tremendous laughs.
The big question tonight is $3,000. Now, you have 15 seconds to decide. You have 15 seconds to decide on a single answer between you. Think carefully and please no help from the audience. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, there is a famous radio and television comedian who was born in Waukegan, Illinois.
Jack Benny! Jack Benny! Jack Benny! Jack Benny! I got it! Jack Benny! Jack Benny! I know it! Jack Benny!
Wait a minute. We know it's Jack Benny, Mr. Forsythe, but that's not the question.
What?
The question is this. Now listen. This is the question. For many years, this bum has been lying about his age. Now, for $3,000... For $3,000, can you tell me how old he really is? You've only got 5 seconds more. $3,000. What is Jack Benny's real age?
39.
I'm sorry, but that's the wrong answer, which means the big question next week will be worth $3,500. Thanks and good luck from the DeSoto Plymouth Deal.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Rodney.
So anybody that can give away as much money as you do and still tell jokes deserves something.
Jack, that's an unfortunate subject, but since you did bring it up,
yeah.
When do I get paid? How about money?
Well, Groucho, I wouldn't worry about that because you will get a check tomorrow morning.
Now, how about paying me in cash?
Why, what's wrong with my check?
Well, I can tell a phony, too. Good night.
Apueste usted su vida finalizó su extraordinaria andadura en 1961. La verdadera palabra secreta era espontaneidad. Eso es lo que hacía de él un programa singular. Nunca se sabía con qué podía salir Groucho. Por ello, el programa gozaba de una gran difusión y ha influenciado a varias generaciones de cómicos. El programa revitalizó la carrera de Groucho, lo convirtió en una estrella más grande que nunca y preparó el camino para el renacimiento de los hermanos Marx. En eso puede usted apostar su vida. Antes, en 1946, justo antes de que Groucho redescubriese el estrellato, disfrutaba de su semi-retiro.
He was a frustrated farmer, and he was constantly out in the backyard pruning the trees and tending to the vegetable gardens. He loved doing that.
Aquí, en estas películas caseras inéditas, Groucho se relaja con su familia. Harpo, que ya no era el chico desenfadado, miembro de la compañía itinerante Algonquin Round Table, se había retirado a placeres más reposados. Chico, sin embargo, debido a su afición al juego, seguía teniendo deudas, de modo que convenció a sus reticentes hermanos para hacer otra película.
Now, I'm not saying that they didn't get angry at Daddy. They did because of the gambling. But even with the anger and the rage and the yelling and, you know, about, I'm not going to give you another dime, they always ended up bailing him out.
They're back, the Marx Brothers. Groucho, Harpo, Chico. That's me. Go on, boss. Tell them about it a bit. I can't, Chico. There's too much noise. I fix. See you night in Casablanca.
Una noche en Casablanca apenas era de la cosecha de los Marx, excepto si la comparamos con su última película, Amor en Conserva. En realidad, Harpo concibió a Amor en Conserva como película de un solo protagonista, pero Chico consiguió entrar en ella, y cuando los fondos se terminaron, los inversores dijeron que no pondrían más dinero a menos que Groucho hiciera una aparición. Lo cierto es que Amor en Conserva solo es destacable por una cosa. Groucho, el Rey Lear en persona, es protagonista junto a una joven Marilyn Monroe. Y ahora, deudas de juego o no, la carrera cinematográfica de los hermanos Marx había terminado de verdad. Mientras Groucho estaba ocupado revolucionando los programas concurso, Chico llevó su espectáculo al otro lado del océano.
What do you think of England? Oh, I like England very much. I hope England's going to like me. Tell me something. Do you talk like that all the time? No, I talk like this in the pictures. You see, I used to be, in the war, I used to be always Italian, but I saw what they did to Mussolini, so now I'm Greek. Excuse me.
Harpo, mientras tanto, atendía diversos intereses, incluyendo posar para el retratista favorito de Hollywood, John Decker. En estas excepcionales películas caseras lo vemos haciendo el payaso con Decker delante de la versión de Harpo como el Chico de Azul.
Susan and Harpo ultimately got married, and they decided it was absolutely necessary that they have a family. And the house that they lived in had 4 windows, 2 on the second story, 2 on the first story. And it was Dad's dream that when he came home at night, he would see a smiling face in each one of those windows. So, hence came Billy, then Alex, then Minnie, and then Jimmy. And his dream was realized. I have 2 Marx brothers of my own and a Marx sister.
My father would sometimes be listening to the radio, and they had a show in Palm Springs where people would come on about lost animals, lost pets, that they had found animals, and my father would generally answer the radio ad and bring that animal home. And the house was always filled with animals. He loved animals.
Por mucho que a Harpo le gustase estar con su familia, no estaba preparado para jubilarse. Todavía no.
Somebody out of the audience would start shooting back at us. You know that.
I believe that my dad was apprehensive every time he walked out on the stage.
Oh, you want me to do a different type show, is that it? Huh? Well, maybe I better humor this kid. Let's walk on back into my office. Will you come back here, huh? Come on back. Here we are. Well, you like that, huh?
He was very nervous that night, because in those days, it was live television and you only had one shot at it. This was no editing. And he recognized that, and this was not rehearsed heavily to the point where it would be smooth. And he knew that.
A windshield wiper. Yeah, more? Oh, more. This is great. A windshield wiper on a rainy day.
Nobody ever knew how to write for Harpo. He went to page 2, and it said Harpo skips down a nice little road, and he is confronted by a huge stuffed bear. Harpo does something funny. That's how they wrote for him.
Come on, I asked you to play the hop. Will you play the hop? You won't play the hop?
You don't want to? Why? Want to play another instrument? This is yours? Yours? Yeah. You invented this? Oh, good. It's very peculiar. Fine. It's got 2 mouthpieces, huh? You play in both sides at the same time? How do you do that? Now, listen, would you please do me a favor, and I'd like you to play the harp. Would you play the harp? You don't want to play the harp? You have another instrument to play? Oh, sure. I'll wait. What are you going to get? Oh, you're going to get the clarinet. I didn't know he played. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to watch Harpo play the clarinet. He's really one of the greatest... You going to play the clarinet? Not seriously. What are you going to play? I'm forever blowing bubbles. That's why. You're going to play it seriously? Well, if you're going to play it seriously, I'll direct the band seriously, because I'm a great musical conductor. What's the trouble? Now stop it. Are you going to play the number of the... Now stop it! Finish the number, will you, Harpo, please? Now we're rolling. What's the trouble? What's the trouble? Don't you want me to play? Don't you want me to direct it? You want another director? Who do you want? Who do you want? Oh, Billy May? Billy May. All right, Billy, would you come over here, please? I want you to meet Hermanos Marx. Have you got a suggestion? Can you help us?
Yes, I have a great suggestion, Milton.
What?
He plays,
yeah.
I direct, and you sing.
I thought you'd never call on me. I'm a great singer. I'm a sensational singer. I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in all they fly. Lately, you really loaded it, didn't you, Cecile? And just like my dreams, they fade, and I'll take it now.
We always felt that the roles outside of Harpo were the most difficult to play. In 1925, he was in a movie called Too Many Kisses. Then later on, he went to play Summer Stock. He did The Man Who Came to Dinner. And later on, he played The Yellow Jacket with Alexander Woollcott. And in the early 1960s, he appeared on television in another dramatic role.
What's with you, Mac?
Hey, ain't this the guy? You know, the deaf mute. The description fits.
Yeah, must be. Hey, look, I got some fares in the cab. Let me take them, will you? Sure, go ahead. All right, let's
take it easy, chum. Come on.
Come on, it's all over.
Look, there's an all-points bulletin out for you. Come on, let's stop playing around now. Hey, boy, you sure see some dandies, huh?
I'm not trying to run.
Well, look, I didn't take any course in mind reading at the police academy. Let's go, huh? Come on.
Hey, wait a minute. For Pete's sake, what do you want?
Excepto estas intervenciones ocasionales como artista invitado, Harpo pasaba el tiempo en Palm Springs jugando al golf y siendo un buen padre y esposo.
So, to make it simplified, we moved down here.
Benny,
What do you like most about living in Palm Springs?
Well, I love horseback riding, and in Beverly Hills you couldn't do much horseback riding, so I do have a horse of my own.
My father never really wanted any of us to go into show business. He didn't push it. If we wanted to, I'm not sure he would have discouraged us, but it was something he really didn't push.
I know you helped your father with his music. Do you intend to make show business your career?
Yes, Mr. Murrow, I'm very interested in the music field.
And they brought in all these cameras and all these wires, and they set up, and they rehearsed the show, and it was a remarkable performance because they went all over the grounds of El Rancho Harpo while doing this 20-minute segment with Edward R. Murrow. And it was all live, and it was all spontaneous, and it was wonderful.
Harpo, I would gather that we're in your trophy room. Did you win them all?
Harpo was my favorite uncle because he was an absolutely wonderful man. He was a sweet, caring, gentle soul, just the way he appeared in the movies. He was just a wonderfully kind man, and he was a comfortable person to be around, he and his whole family.
I can remember my father coming and waking me up in the middle of the night very often because he wanted to play a game. He wanted to play jacks. He wanted to play cards, any kind of a game. But if he was working during the daytime, nighttime was the only time he had to spend with his children. And it would never occur to him to let us sleep. He would just come wake us up, and that was his time to play a game or whatever.
My parents were having a lot of problems. My mother was drinking, and often Harpo and his family lived 6 or 7 blocks away when I was growing up in Beverly Hills. And many's the evening that I would bicycle over to Harpo's house. There was a peacefulness there that there was not in my house, and I would always bicycle over in time for them to invite me to dinner and hope that they would, and they frequently did. They always did.
Hello, Harpo. You are Harpo, aren't you? And you live in Beverly Hills. You like Beverly Hills? Oh, you don't talk. Oh, I see. You talk to your family. Where is your family? Where are the kids? Oh, there's Minnie. Any more? There's Jimmy. Any more? And there's Alex. Well, you know, I can't wait to see Mrs. Marx. I wonder if she's going to have a wig. Oh, there she is.
The most important lesson, I suppose, that Dad taught all of us kids was that whatever you do in your life, enjoy doing it. That what you do isn't as important as how you feel about yourself while you're doing it.
We always had family days where the whole family was together. Groucho, Chico, Zeppo, and Gummo, we were all together. And family was very important to him.
Tell us, does he ever talk? Can't you get anything out of him?
Never have.
Try it, will you? Well, the kids must know what their daddy says. Alex, do you know what your daddy said? Oh, you see your famous brothers very often?
Oh, very often. It's a very close family.
Yeah. Where's Groucho right now?
He's probably floating around Beverly Hills. He loves to walk.
This is one of the busiest streets in Beverly Hills. It isn't really a street. It's a cheap set. But I love this cheap set. For a spectacular, it didn't have to be this cheap. Oh, hello, little girl. Who are you?
I'm your daughter, Melinda.
Oh, Melinda, my little tax exemption. How are you? What are you doing here? You on your way home?
No, I'm going to hear Tony Martin sing in a minute.
Tony Martin? Wouldn't you rather hear me sing?
No, Daddy, I've heard you sing.
Well, would you consider doing a duet with me?
All right. I've always tried to be a good daughter.
Well, hop right up here.
Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can. Yes,
No, you can. No, you can. No, you can.
anything you can be,
not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am. Yes,
No, you're
I
not.
am.
No,
Yes,
you're
I
not.
am.
No, you're not. I can shoot a sparrow with a bow and arrow.
I can get a sparrow with a bow and arrow.
I can live on bread and cheese.
And only on that?
Yeah.
So can a rat. Anything you can sing, I can sing louder. I can sing anything louder than you.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can. Yes,
No, you can. No, you can. No, you can.
Hey, you look like the fella who used to be my brother.
I don't think I got your name.
No, I got my name.
I think you're pulling my leg.
Yeah, just to get him even.
Well, would you mind helping me push this camera store around?
I'm sorry. I gotta go to the golf course and lay down in the sand trap.
Sand trap?
Yeah, you see, it's a Sunday, and that's when I see my psychiatrist.
I'm sure I used to know him. If I'm not mistaken, we both had the same mother.
He was berating Groucho for something, and I said to him, well, you know, Pop, I said, you have to realize that Groucho's always been jealous of you because of Grandma. And Daddy said, what do you mean? I said, well, weren't you Grandma's favorite? He said, well, yeah. I said, well, don't you think Groucho was jealous? He said, you know, I never thought of that.
He was very jealous of Chico, and this lasted all the way up through his manhood. And another thing, Chico always got the girls. And this was a source of aggravation to Groucho, too.
Joe, you know that Gypsy Love song?
Well, I know the chorus.
Well, I played the verse. Maybe you could follow me, huh?
Well, suppose you play the verse while I noodle around.
You're going to noodle?
Uh-huh.
What do you mean by noodle? All right, it's fine. You noodle there, and I'll macaroni over here. That's a good. Now we tried the chorus, but the chorus we played pianissimo. You know what pianissimo is, Joe?
Oh,
How long you study music?
oh, about 15 years.
You know, 2 more years you could have been a plumber? Hey, none to move. Why you scare my wife, huh?
Me?
Yes, me. No, I mean you.
I'm the telephone man.
A diferencia de sus hermanos en la televisión, nunca le fue demasiado bien a Chico. Papá Romani, un episodio de una serie antológica de 1950, fue uno de sus primeros pasos en falso.
He was not a good dialectician. I mean, even his Italian accent sort of slipped a lot. We used to say, Chico, your accent is slipping.
Después llegó y se fue College Bowl, una serie musical de variedades donde interpretaba al encargado de una heladería de un campus universitario.
Of course there were bad things because he was a compulsive gambler. I mean, that's what almost all the fights in the house were. My mother lived in, she wouldn't buy a house for many years because she said she didn't want to wake up in the morning and find out that some gangster owned it.
Chico was an inveterate gambler, and it caused the Marx brothers great grief because they constantly had to bail him out financially.
This is my family album. And this is my brother Harpo. He's always chasing the girls. But no more, now he's a telling the girls about creamy prom. Because prom home permanent is awaiting cream. Leaves your hair soft. You get a creamy prom. Right, Harpo?
He was a combination of a Will-o'-the-Wisp and Peter Pan, and to a little girl, he was magic.
Character from Hollywood making his first appearance on British television.
Chico, can I ask the obvious question? You're going to play the piano for us, aren't you?
Yes, but I'm a little busy right now.
Busy?
Backstage.
What do you mean, backstage? No. What, here?
Yeah.
Can you get one for me?
I got it.
Oh, thank you.
When my Uncle Chico would sit with me at the piano, sometimes he would help me on the pieces that I was supposed to be playing, because my mother was always sitting and listening from the other room. But he would always entertain me because he had a style all his own. I was more entertained by his piano playing than what I was supposed to be doing.
We would be driving up any street, and he'd say, "You see the green light, baby?" And I'd say, "Yes." He said, "Daddy bets you that it'll turn red before you can count 10. They had to have a bet going on everything.
Hey, you don't look like an angel. Disguise yourself. No, no. Put on your halo. 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 Not the hello. Your halo. Watch.
Están viendo El Serafín Adjunto, un episodio piloto para la televisión sobre unos ángeles liantes que intentan enderezar los entuertos de la Tierra. Estas escenas, reconstruidas a partir del recientemente descubierto máster de la película, son todo lo que queda del legendario programa perdido de los hermanos Marx para la televisión.
Did you ever see a voice-licking pair of angels? Say the secret word, you can have either one of them.
24 Chicago, take 1. Baker, take 3.
Hey, pipe it down. Here comes the chief.
1.
Action. It's easy. Now, don't be scared. All you gotta do is sneak in aside of this sneaky fellow. Now, go ahead. Now, do your stuff.
Fine pair of bunglers, a jealous woman. She'll get even with him. She'll marry him. I'll have to take charge here. Phone, please. I wonder how they do that. You do?
3. Take 4.
He's a piano player. I'm a piano player. I fix him.
Start again and say, look.
Oh. Look. He's a piano player. I'm a piano player. I fix him.
Freeze! Go into action. Where's he going? Where is he? That's good. Step out. Walk. Phone, please. I must find out how they do that. Roger.
Chico.
I'll take the easy way. Phone, please. Extraordinary.
Era la primera vez que los tres hermanos trabajaban juntos en casi una década, pero no fue una experiencia feliz. Durante el rodaje, Chico desesperó a todo el mundo con su incapacidad para recordar los diálogos. Después, durante un alto en el rodaje, se descubrió que padecía arteriosclerosis. Ninguna compañía de seguros asumía el riesgo del riguroso horario de rodaje de una serie semanal, así que la producción se suspendió y El Serafín Adjunto no se terminó nunca.
Hey. And he was beginning to get very ill at that time, and it was hard from then on.
A pesar de su enfermedad, Chico siguió trabajando. Actuó en existencias de verano y junto a Harpo entretuvo al público de Las Vegas en un club nocturno.
I had just split from my husband and was having a hard time financially, and I was talking to Daddy about it, and he said, "Gee," he said, "I wish I were Groucho so I could help you." And I said, and I'm so glad I said it, I said, "I wouldn't trade you in for any of my uncles." I said, "You're the best in the world." I've been always so happy that I said that to him. Anyway, he was getting sicker and sicker. We knew it was only a matter of time. And he had a near brush. I mean, my mother had me fly out because we thought he was dying. But he recovered from that attack. Well, they'd lived through so many near deaths with Daddy that I think when he finally died, they just were sort of relieved because he was very, very ill. So when that happens, it's kind of a relief. Jimmy Durante at the funeral looked awful. And I heard him say, That's the end of it. There'll be no more Marx Brothers.
Well, now, Harpo speaks in this fascinating new autobiography, that is. In person, that's another question. Let's find out. Harpo, your book is chock full of great and very funny stories. Now, which one is your favorite? All right, when Groucho and Gummo saw what was going on, they started whooping too. We heaved everything we could get our hands on into the office pit. And the piano player surrendered. I think it was to Stonewall Jackson. I don't remember much about the rest of the performance. It can't be that cold in here.
He loved music, and he played the harp every single day of his life. And probably the most important moment of his stage life would always come when he would sit down to play solo harp. And that's when you saw Harpo transform himself into the serious Arthur Marx. And all of a sudden he would be at one with the harp. In the late 30s, Salvador Dali, the great surrealist painter, dubbed the Marx Brothers as being the great surrealist act. He gave my dad a harp that had strings of barbed wire, and it was wrapped in cellophane, and there was spoons and knives and forks glued to the entire frame. During one of my dad's many semi-retirements, Gummo came to him with a deal. It was to do 4 one-minute commercials for Labatt's beer.
Harpo, what would you like most in all the world, right now? No, not that, not that. Imagine it's hot. The sun's beating down on you. Imagine you're in the middle of a burning desert, 100 miles from the nearest oasis. You haven't had a drink of water in 3 days. Now, what do you want most in all the world? Harpo, didn't anyone tell you this is a beer commercial? That's right, you've got it. Labatt's Pilsner Lager Beer.
They were the most surrealistic commercials I've ever seen in my life.
Harpo, imagine we're lost, drifting in the middle of the Pacific, surrounded by man-eating sharks. No food, no water, no hope. Then suddenly we sight land. We're rescued, saved from a fate worse than death. Now, what's the first thing you'd ask for?
My dad jumped at it because he was able to make some money, and it would be just 1 day of shooting.
Round 1, you moved into the center of the ring. You sized him up. Then you hit him. You changed your tactics. You're trying to confuse him. You're laughing at him, trying to make him mad. What happened? Ooh, don't tell me. He got mad. Never mind, Harpo. You'll do better in the next round.
And to this day, I don't understand him, but I find him most fascinating.
I'm not sure my father really wanted to retire. Show business had been his life, and I think that's what he wanted to continue doing until he couldn't do it any longer.
Todo el clan Marx se reunió para la última representación de Harpo. Compartió escenario con el fabuloso cantante cómico de folk, Alan Sherman.
Just about the end of the first half of the show, Alan stepped to the microphone and said, "This is a very special evening because you folks are going to witness the retirement of Harpo Marx."
And all of us went, oh, you know, when we heard that shocking news. And then Alan said something like, I don't even know if he'll come out, but I'm going to ask this great gentleman and great comedian if he will come out and let us applaud him once more, something to that effect. Well, Harpo came out, And he got a standing ovation again, first of all, because we did love him, and secondly, we thought we'll never see him again.
And then remember Dad got up and made a speech for the first time, spoke in public?
It was a very interesting feeling, because here is a man who was silent all his life and making people laugh, and now he was speaking and everybody was silent.
And then a chuckle originally built to a roar of laughter over the next 6 or 7 minutes, because once he started to speak, you couldn't shut him up.
Here is Harpo really at work.
There are rumors around that this is Britain's revenge for the Boston Tea Party. 3,000 screaming teenagers are at New York's Kennedy Airport to greet, you guessed it, the Beatles. This rock and roll group has taken over as the king.
1964. La Beatlemanía revoluciona la cultura.
Some music critics call their harmony unmistakably diatonic. Others say it's pandemonism.
Cuando John, Paul, George y Ringo aparecieron en escena, algunos observadores compararon su ingenio de Liverpool con el de los hermanos Marx. Por tanto, no es sorprendente que los jóvenes rebeldes abrazasen la comedia subversiva de los hermanos Marx, convirtiéndolos en héroes de la lucha contra lo establecido. Sus películas fueron redescubiertas y se convirtieron en atracción normal de los campus universitarios. De hecho, la popularidad de las películas de los hermanos Marx se extendió por todo el mundo, desde Estocolmo hasta Tokio. Más de medio siglo después de su primera aparición en un escenario, los hermanos Marx renacían como superestrellas internacionales. La irreverencia de Groucho concordaba con el espíritu de la época y se encontró solicitado constantemente. Su asombroso renacimiento culminó con el clásico Una noche con Groucho en el legendario Carnegie Hall de Nueva York. El espectáculo se grabó en un disco y se convirtió en un bestseller.
Right now, he's one of the hottest new concert attractions in the world. And he did it all with 2 eyebrows. Freak. Boink. Mustache, smarget, horn rim glasses, Northland smick, cigar almost as big as he was, and the world's most imitated walk. Oh, there I am. Now say the secret word and a duck will come down and give you $50.
We all were big fans of Groucho. And we said, would it be possible to get him to do a show? Because at that point, Groucho wasn't working. So we said, hey, let's ask him. So I called him at the house, and we had a long talk. He hit me up for a lot of money, and we negotiated. And then I said, okay, Groucho, I'll call you Tuesday. And he said, you can call me whatever you wish, but that isn't my name. So I said, okay.
And now, here is my special guest star, Rufus T. Firefly, J. Cleaver Loophole, Dr. Hugo Z. Heckenbush, Captain Jeffrey Spaulding, also known as Mr. Groucho Marx, ladies and gentlemen.
En 1973, cuando casi tenía 83 años, Groucho hizo su última gran aparición en un programa de variedades. Demostrando que su ingenio magistral era tan agudo como siempre, Groucho intercambió ocurrencias con una de las estrellas más grandes de la comedia.
Oh, it's you. Yes, how are you, Doctor? Fine. Nice to see you. You look, have a sit down.
Oh, I'll be glad to. How have you been?
I've just been fine.
Well, what are we going to do now?
I don't know, but I'm just tickled to have you here, and words cannot express how thrilled I am to have you on the show.
Well, a little money wouldn't hurt either.
All right, now.
You smoke cigars, I see, huh?
Yeah, I like them.
Good ones?
Yeah, well, it just mostly comes from the first time I saw you, and I figured, gee whiz, you know, I would like to smoke cigars.
Well, you know, it's a handy thing to have for a comedian, assuming you are a comedian.
There's one question I wanted to ask you. You've known all of the truly great names in comedy. Now, I mean, how would you classify me?
You?
Yeah.
You'd come right after Nixon. And so would I if I had a chance.
Every one of those jokes in that session worked because he would listen to the question, and then that mind would click in.
Okay, how would you rate W.C. Fields?
I never speak ill of the dead, except in your case.
When I met Groucho, I found exactly what I expected. A cantankerous, ornery, salty, amusing, amazing man who took nothing seriously.
Do you believe in life after death?
I have serious doubts about the life before death. The way we're going now. I believe in death during life, and so does everyone watching this show.
Do you have any unfulfilled wish?
Well, yes, I'd like to terminate this interview as soon as
Well, you can't be funnier than that. Of course, it put Cosby down and put Cosby away because everybody had great respect for Cosby at that point, except for Groucho, who had none. And he didn't respect Bill. It bothered Groucho that Bill smoked better cigars than Groucho did. So Groucho, on the way out, copped about a half a dozen of Bill's cigars. You had to love him.
En 1974, Groucho fue galardonado con un Oscar honorario por su contribución al cine. Comenzó este momento final bajo los focos recibiendo un aplauso para todos los hermanos Marx.
Hello, I must be going. I cannot stay, I came to say I must be going. I'm glad I came, but just the same, I must be going. I'll stay a week or two, I'll stay the summer through, but I am telling you, I must be
Hooray for Captain Spaulding, the African explorer.
Did someone call me Schnorrer?
Hooray, hooray, hooray. He went into the jungle.
Mucho se ha dicho y escrito sobre el estilo y la esencia de la comedia de los hermanos Marx. Los historiadores cinematográficos han ofrecido interminables análisis intelectuales razonando su éxito, pero quizás el argumento más convincente y que mejor explica que hubiesen hecho reír al público durante 4 generaciones es que eran graciosos, pura y simplemente. Como todos los grandes artistas, Groucho, Chico y Harpo eran verdaderamente originales, y una vez que entraron en nuestra conciencia colectiva como los hermanos Marx, nunca la abandonaron.
Now, once again, I'd like to bring out my guest, just for a bow, Groucho Marx.
I can still do that.
You won't be able to walk tomorrow, though. I don't. Now, listen, Groucho.
You just put a gun in front of me, and I'll show you.
Good thing you got friends at City Hall. Go like that, see? I go like that. Come on.
Look right into there. Go ahead.
it easy now.